So I'll put out maybe, while you think of questions, I'll put out a call to action. I'm the lead developer for a project called Padawan. And Padawan Wallet is similar to this, actually. It's a testnet wallet using the Bitcoin dev kit, but it has a different goal, obviously. We're not trying to teach developers how to use the Bitcoin dev kit. We're trying to teach people how to use Bitcoin wallets. So this Padawan wallet, you'll find a lot of similarities. And if you know the code base for the Sovi wallet, I think you'll find that the Padawan, code base is not like entirely foreign. There's a lot of things that are repeated in it. There's of course a lot more complexity to it because the objective is very different, but I think you'll see a lot of the same blocks being reused. And so the idea behind Padawan is to create a testnet wallet where people can download, basically pull on a little faucet that is always live and can send you coins once. So once during the lifetime of your app, you can request a few Satoshis be sent to you. And this allows you to immediately have Satoshis that you can start playing with. So the idea is to let people experiment with Bitcoin and learn how to use it. And it comes with a bunch of tutorials on how to basically, what does it mean to be a Bitcoin user? How do you use Bitcoin on chain? So you can see the list here on the screenshot, but I'm trying to teach people, I'm trying to give small tutorials that are like, not too long to go through, but tell you the basics of what you need to know to be a user of Bitcoin wallets on mobile. And that's the gist of the idea. And so I think that the use case is pretty interesting because it does not require you to acquire actual Bitcoin. You don't need to figure out how to get them, where to get them. You might need, you need to pay for Bitcoin usually if you want to buy it, right? Whereas testnet coins are free. You can get them immediately. It takes like a few seconds and they arrive. And it's super neat because then you could imagine like people that don't have access to real Bitcoin could download it, right? It can be an app that even children could use, right? If you're 14 years old, maybe you don't have money to purchase Bitcoin, but this wallet is still going to teach you how to use it, and you're going to get testnet coins for it. So the use case is kind of cool, and I'm getting closer and closer to releasing on the Google Play Store. If that's something you're interested in, come check it out. And I've already gotten my first contributor, Sunidhi, who I think is still with us. She had a PR that we merged a few days ago. So thank you to my very first contributor, a Summer of Bitcoin student. And so that's what I have to say about it. If you're interested in sort of seeing this through and continuing to build on these things, this is an example wallet that uses that sort of API and the workflow. So it's something you'd be familiar with. But there's a ton of other really cool applications that are being built on it. The CLI is one of them. And definitely if you're interested in Rust, then there's a lot of guys building applications using the Rust library. So check it out. All right, I got a question, a little off topic. Can we run Explorer server on mobile as well? Like probably a pruned node. Okay, so I think they might be separate things, but first, could you run a prune node on a mobile? Yes, you could. It'd be a decent amount of work for your little phone, but it's not impossible, and you could definitely do it. And then Explorer server. This I'd have to look more into it. I don't think it's impossible. It's certainly like Explorer is a project that's built for that kind of thing. So like you could, I think, but it's not something I've ever done. So yeah, it's a good question. Maybe that's something one of you could explore. I want to remind everyone to join the Bitcoin DevKit Discord server if you're interested in the library and learning about how to use it. One of the PRs that I'm working on right now is on BDK JNI, and it's a PR that will bring BDK JNI to the JVM. And I think we're almost there. it's looking good. This workshop took a bit of my time in the past week, but Steve's been super helpful as well. So I think that once we have that, then it's epic, because we'll be able to use Bitcoin Dev Kit, same API, very similar, structure, but we'll be using that on the JVM. So backend servers, useful, especially if you're a Java dev or Kotlin dev, so you know these languages well, and you want to fire up a small application or build even a CLI, or using the BDK for some task you have, and you don't want to build it with the Rust library. The JVM is a great choice for that. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Well, for sure about server, the Dart stuff, that's cool. I think the language bindings will be able to direct you in the right direction. The leaders for that right now, the language bindings, we talked about this yesterday, but the sister project of the Bitcoin Dev Kit is the Lightning Dev Kit, and they've been like really doing like amazing work with the language bindings. So what's important to understand, I can talk a bit more about the language bindings, because it's kind of an interesting piece of software, and I think the Lightning Dev Kit team is doing really groundbreaking work there. The problem with language bindings is that because we're crossing memory management models, right? You're going from a JVM to a Rust, where you need to tell each side what needs to be allocated, deallocated, and it's important. And so, but at the same time, a naive implementation, right? A basic implementation could be, say, I want to ask for this particular thing, or this wallet, or these transactions, and I'm asking for them here, and I have them now in my memory, and when I'm done with it, they need to be deallocated. But maybe another part of the application needs it as well. And so if it makes its own request, you'll get two versions of the same object. So you're playing with the same thing twice, which is not like, there's nothing wrong with it. But then you're managing both, and then, they need to be separately deallocated and whatever. You're crossing that boundary between the languages twice. Rather, a better way to do this would be to know, so that both sides know about what and how many times each object is required, or is referenced, or who's using what object. And so you'd want to port what the Lightning Dev Kit team is doing. And this is led by a very famous developer in the Bitcoin community. His name is Matt Corallo. He is building it so that he's almost porting the memory model management of Rust into the language bindings. And once you bring that, it brings a lot of optimizations, because now your languages are garbage collected, but they also can use the same object only once. And so it cleans up a lot of memory, and but it just makes it a lot more complex to deal with, because you need to keep track of who's using what, and when they don't need it anymore, and when you can deallocate it. So there's more complexity, but the beauty is also being developed. It has this one frontier that we need to work on, basically, right? It's this interoperability with C. And once that's done, then each language can speak separately to it very cleanly. And so it's almost like he's getting all of that for free once that gets all worked out. Harsh, you were talking about Dart. Dart will be sort of easy to implement. I know that right now their focus, I think, is on Java and JavaScript, but what's coming down the pipe is Python, and then immediately you have Dart, and then you have, so I think there's really good stuff there, and it's all out in the open. So feel free. If you come into the server, we'll help you out. We'll show you where those are being developed. So folks, is there a port of BDK Swift? Probably. Good question. I think that's also something maybe Steve can speak to this, because I think that's his next idea. And Swift is one of the easy ones, apparently easier than, for example, Python. But I don't know. Yeah. Steve says, for those who don't have the chat, Swift is also a top priority after Java, Kotlin. Yeah. And once we have that, then we're into iOS devices. And at that point, it's one ring to rule them all. The Bitcoin Dev Kit you'll have it everywhere. And then we bring more eyes on the code, more contributors. So I think it's a good thing. This is a workshop that from the Bitcoin Dev Kit team, I think we're also looking to expand on and keep working on this app. We'd love to see it grow into more complex features as also the JNI BDK JNI is being developed, and the language bindings offer more of the Bitcoin Dev Kit API. So keep an eye on it if you're interested. There's a lot of value in understanding a code base, taking the time to really understand a code base. And then when new commits are made to it, it's super easy to follow along and know what's happening. So I think that if you want to spend time on this code base and learn it, if you're interested in Android, it's really worth your time to continue working on it, because we will be continuing working on it. So this workshop, I'm hoping to give it again to other people down the line, including at a conference in Atlanta. If you're ever in that area, we'll see you there in November. So I'll be giving a similar workshop, a bit shorter maybe, but we're hoping to keep it as an education piece for the Bitcoin Dev Kit. So there's a really good upside there. And if you're interested in contributing and maybe providing feedback to how the workshop went, it's really good for the Bitcoin Dev Kit to learn all of that. And so me and Steve are, I think, all ears to see your feedback, if how it went and what you think of it.
Thunderbiscuit, maybe I can just take this opportunity to thank you for putting together a really great workshop. And given that this is the first time you've done it, this was, I think, great and smooth. So thank you so much for making this happen. And hopefully this will turn into some unexpected, this will yield some unexpected and surprising results.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you, everyone. And thanks. This whole idea is a great thing, this whole summer of Bitcoin. And thank you, whoever gave me the 2 students, because that's awesome too. My students have been hard at work. I've already got some good stuff out of it. So cheers. Thank you for the summer of Bitcoin. Addy and of course, Jonas and Chainco Labs, I think, has helped out a lot for this. So thank you. And folks, come chat with me on the Discord servers anywhere. I'm always all ears. And I myself, I offer mentorship services as well. So like that's something I try to do some more Bitcoin development, and I have a mentor myself that I really enjoy working with. And so I've started doing that as well. So if that's something you're interested in, getting more like formal mentorship, like a weekly meeting or something like that, just let me know, because I've been doing that for a little bit now with a few different folks. So happy to help out if you're looking for a mentor for Bitcoin or something like that.
Thanks, Thunderbiscuit. And for those that are still active and have made it through to the end, please show Thunderbiscuit love, whether on this chat or in Discord. You put a lot of work into this, and I think the results speak for themselves.
Awesome. Yeah, feel free to fork this and go to town. Yeah, build it into more. I'll send in the chat some of the ideas. I think we've talked about like 6 or 7 even more than I had this morning. So at this point, I think we're into like 10 or 12 ideas on how you could expand this app to make it better, or maybe transition it into a more sort of like user-focused application. So there's a lot of stuff that you could do with it. And if you want to see one of those real apps in production, in action, well, come check out Padawan, because we're firing too, and we're trying to get it into the App Store. So there's a lot of work there to be done too. So if you're interested in contributing to an Android app, come check it out.